We'll be finding out about a real bear who some think deserves a statue of his own.
Heroes come in all shapes and sizes, which is why campaigners in the Scottish village of Hutton are fighting for a war memorial to a very special soldier, one whose courage has become the stuff of legend. This is the remarkable story of Wojtek, the soldier bear. Abandoned by his mother, Wojtek was just a tiny bundle of fur when he was discovered by a Polish regiment as Allied troops marched through Iran in 1942. They adopted him as a mascot, fed him on condensed milk and gave him an old washing-up bowl to sleep in. 2 years later, as the regiment prepared to go to Italy for the battle to regain Europe, they just couldn't stand to leave him behind. Gary Paulin, school teacher, author and expert on Wojtek, takes up the extraordinary story.
The soldiers came upon a young bear cub in the mountains of Iran, or what was called Persia. This bear cub was adopted by the army. He was on the camp with the soldiers, he lived like a soldier, he ate like a soldier, he slept in the tents like a soldier. He was one of the men. He would share a beer with the men, he even liked a cigarette. Of course the soldiers loved this, they loved all these little antics. The Polish soldiers had come from nothing, they'd lost everything earlier on in the war. The bear became to be so much more than just a mascot to them. It was a real boost to their morale. They then got orders to sail to Italy to take part in the Battle of Monte Cassino. They wanted to make sure that that bear, Wojtek, was going to travel with the army. He was given full documentation to show that he was a soldier. He was a soldier of the Polish army.
He actually became an enlisted soldier.
Private Wojtek.
Even though he was a bear?
Even though he was a bear. At the Battle of Monte Cassino, Wojtek helped the soldiers unload ammunition from the trucks to the front line. And because of his strength, he could handle the boxes much easier than, say, 1 or 2 men.
But why are the people here in this small Scottish village so fond of the story and of the bear? Well, it was here that he came with his fellow soldiers after the war ended, and it was in these wide, open spaces that he spent 2 years enjoying peacetime freedom. By then, everyone in the Polish army had heard of Wojtek, including ex-serviceman K. Karolowski. Kay, it really is hard to believe that over 60 years ago this was a home for 2,000 Polish soldiers and Wojtek the soldier bear. When did you meet Wojtek?
I met Wojtek here in 1946. He was wonderful. He was so gentle for an animal that size. We used to wrestle with him, have tug of war with him. We would get an army truck tire, and there were 5 or 6 who sitting pulling on one side, and the bear would give one tug, and we sitting on our backsides, you know. And that was our entertainment at the time.
His move to Edinburgh Zoo in 1947 gave him a new army of friends. He was a firm favourite with children and grown-ups until he died in 1963. But the locals here in Hutton are determined that their war hero bear will never ever be forgotten. Aileen Orr is campaigning for a permanent memorial to honour Wojtek. So this is a prototype?
It is. It's a miniature created by Alan Herriot, the sculptor. The idea of this is actually to make it life-size. We intend to take this round Scotland to show the people, you know, what Wojtek was about. Wojtek was a big, big personality, and I think this is going to be a big, big campaign. The story about Wojtek is a story of comradeship. Wojtek didn't know he was a bear. Wojtek thought he was a soldier. When the men laughed, he laughed. When they cried, he cried. The wonderful thing about Wojtek, although he's the body of a bear, he's got the heart of a man.
What an absolutely marvellous bear. Bear, bears. Put a D in, what have you got?
Beards.
Who's famous for beards? Let's have a look at him.